Well, I'm telling you, if we had Love for Lee on the Sorg Network,
I love that. He was like, I want to move to Indiana because they like me there and aren't going to put me on a game show. I was like, well, I think.
like for real, a game show.
Well, I would love for Lee. I mean, but game, love. I don't know. I don't know. In my head, I think match game or something.
I messaged him about it because me and Lee used to ride just everywhere together. We would train together. I was there from release since day one. You know, me and Lee were always like complete opposites of each other. Lee's everything good in the world. I'm everything negative and crude. But yeah, we were like best friends. Necessarily because I didn't give him a choice whether he wanted to be my friend or not. So
It's like, wake up, bitch! You're my new best friend.
basically.
Fucking basketball.
And I would just pick on him all the time. I would send him like bullshit at like 2 a.m. I remember I was in West Mifflin. I had to go pee. Not like urgent had to go pee. So I stopped by his house, knocked on his door. His mom opened it, let myself in without her consent. Went to his room, knocked on the door, was like, yo, Lee, I gotta go pee. He said, the fuck are you doing? I was like, Lee, I gotta pee. I'm gonna go pee real quick. Then I went pee, came back downstairs, all right, bro, we gotta get up. We about to bullshit in your living room. And then I just made fun of him the entire time, then left. But yeah, I messaged him and I was like, Lee, you need to get laid. Because I never seen Lee talk about girls. Or he'll tell me like all these fangirls that don't. He's like, I want nothing to do with it. I just want to focus on wrestling. I'm like, that's fine, Danny, but you need to get laid, Lee. You really tensed up. I was like, you're a great wrestler. Imagine how much greater you'd be if you busted one nut. So I was like, Lee, we need to just pick a bitch for you. I was like, we're gonna have a game show. We're gonna incorporate all talent, like female wrestling talent. He's like, no, that's taking advantage of women. I was like, bro, we're gonna like make like weekly wrestling challenges, so it will promote them as well. It's a win-win situation for everybody. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you get laid, you get to make out. I was like, and I'll be the host of the show.
But not in like a negative, way, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, even if they get eliminated, that's completely your choice. I was like, and it would be just daily like wrestling challenges of like, rest holds or like chain wrestling or
it's like Tough Enough, but for love.
Exactly, love for Lee, love for Lee. It would be money, but yeah, he's too good. He respects people.
John Roden says that's Bronco and him. that whole relationship right there. And we got to pick. So who's the wholesome one? Oh, okay, no, never mind. Bronco's definitely the you of that relationship.
Oh yeah.
Would it be funny if it is opposite though?
Roden the bottom. I can't see.
Oh no, he says don't have a choice but to be his friend. Yeah. Roden says see who has the best head scissors. See, like this.
See, that's money.
Mm-hmm.
And I would immediately I would just stand there like, you see this shit, right? You see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'd be like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm like, Lee, let it go. Let your guard down. Let your dick get hard. Watch them. I honestly know how I haven't been kicked out of a locker room the way I talk to people.
Yeah. Oh, I witnessed a little bit. Yep.
I remember Danny Abel came up to me. He was like, Christian. I was like, Danny. He's like, you can just say whatever you want, the most vulgar, offensive things that should not be said out loud, things that can make people cringe or to get someone fired from a job. He's like, but you say these things, everyone just laughs. He's like, but if I were to say these things, he's like, I'd get in trouble. He's like, why is that? I'm like, you don't have the charisma to pull it off, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you got to go into it with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be scared. I was like, Danny, you just don't have it. You're not black enough, Danny. I was like, you're white. Like, whenever he came in with like a polo first off, to me, if you wear a polo shirt, I don't like you. Because I'm like, what kind of dad are you?
I think that's why Noctis is wearing polo shirts now to the ring when he's managing people. It's like you're just like coming in with like what you came in here from work. He's like,
yes, like, it's like you don't. So why'd you even bother to get dressed? Like,
exactly.
Like if you were like he came in with like a polo shirt, like khaki pants and like running shoes. And I was like, you have the most Republican picket fence look I've ever seen in my life. I was like, I don't like you. He was like, it's because of my political party. I was like, oh, absolutely not. Like, I was like, now if you were to come by Homewood like that, you might get mugged. Maybe by me. I don't even live in Homewood, but the moment I know you're in there, I'm coming to rob you. Hands down, there's no question about it.
All right, pull that a little closer. I'm losing you a little bit. Say hello.
Hello?
There we go. That's strong.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
You got an audience out there. You got a bit of an audience out there, so we should probably get this going.
Oh, geez. I guarantee Brandon K is like watching what's like, he better not say anything bad.
Oh, no. We're giving him a live mic.
The one thing
and
no
not
promoter would
distracting him with video games this time. So I feel like I need a disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
The one thing no promoter would ever do was give me a live microphone. Because I used to ask Marcus all the time, like, give me the mic, let me cut a promo. He's like, no. He's like, I'm like, why? He's like, you're going to get too into it, and you know how you are. And I'm like, I was like, Marcus, that's terrible. How dare you assume of that of me? But I'm like, guarantee I would say the N-word like 5 times during my promo.
Yeah, that can be a little tough out in Lamont Furnace, PA.
I mean, I'm black. What are they going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, how you going to get mad? I'm black.
Just like, well, everybody's just uncomfortable now. I don't know.
Can't be worse than that lady who called like me.
It's like, should we cheer? I don't know.
Can't be worse than that lady who like when me and Lee were having our match at what was it? Like it was like that one Living Hell match because Lee was like, we can't say 3 stages of death or whatever it's called, and we had to rename it something else. Like beginning of the match, all I hear is beat that monkey's ass, and I hear it over my shoulder, and I'm like, yo. And I look at Lee across the ring. He looked at me. He's like, it's okay. He whispered it to me. We wrestle. We're going through this, and I'm outside the ring. Lee dives at me during this for the spot, and he dives right at me, like towards the lady, because I knew what Lee was doing. Lee was trying to knock me into her. And I was like trying to backpedal so we do run into her, but I tripped a hair too soon.
Oh.
And I was like, damn it, Lee, we could have made this look an accident.
All right, here we go. Hey guys, it is the Indy Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, PA. This is the show where we talk with people in and around and maybe formerly of independent professional wrestling. We'll talk about that in a moment. But please go check out everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Good times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. 412-206-WMS0. If you guys want to get at us with any questions for anybody we have announced over on the Facebook page with Wrestling Mayhem Show or IndyWrestling.us. Or if you have somebody you think we should be talking with, of course, we can only watch so much professional wrestling these days, and that seems to be a harder and harder task from day to day. So if there's anybody we're missing out on, you think it would be a great conversation with us, please let us know on any of those lines or the Facebook page or anything like that. So, of course, today, judging, I offered a platform for somebody I've known for the last couple of years here in indie wrestling, and judging by a GIF that I saw the other day, I just want to remind people that the thoughts and opinions of our guests are not necessarily reflected upon Indie Mayhem Show or its associations. So with that, I'm going to introduce Christian Noir back to the show, sir.
Hey, it feels good to be back. First time I'm here without face paint on.
Yes. I think the last time you were here, you were at one of the Brohemus video game nights.
Yeah, I looked like your regular drug dealer. I had the black shirt, the black flannel, the black jean vest on top with the beanie, with my glasses. I looked like I came in here to sell nickels and dime bags to unsuspecting white kids.
I got some good quotes for the social media though. That were pretty. I think Froyo for Bro or something.
Oh yeah, because Brohemoth, he is my secret lover. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to admit it, even though he has like 5 kids that he cares for, but yeah, bro's a bottom, I'm his top. Okay. He likes to pull on my dreads.
There you go. But anyways, the reason we have you in here, you recently retired from professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. I know, and I think it's been under the radar that you've been intending to do that for a while now.
Yeah, I posted about it like late December, like right after my casket match with Connor like a year ago because, or before that, I was wrestling at Black Diamond and forget who I was wrestling, but I took a suplex. He did not line me up towards the middle of the ring. Popped my back. Oh, it hurt so bad. Then like weeks went on. Then one day I woke up and I couldn't walk. I was rolling on the floor crying and screaming. Had to get taken to the hospital. They were like, "Oh, you tore a lining on your disc."
Wow.
So I was constantly at this little hunchback of Notre Dame angle. Then I had to go through therapy to like relearn how to stand up straight. And like, what people didn't realize, like, for the entire year of 2019, everything hurt. Like every bump I took, I felt like a sensation go up my spine and sometimes down my legs. There'd be times I'm in rest hold or doing something and I couldn't feel my leg for a second. But I remember like when I was in that casket match with Connor, brutal match, and I just got the worst news that my uncle was like dying. It was like the official. So there I was like crying in the back with all this back pain. And I'm like, I gotta do this match. But beyond the sadness, then around August during 19, I was still going through a retirement thing. Like I said, I didn't really tell nobody. Only a few people knew. Then I was at Kato's promotion, Imagine, because I would always mess up and say Image like an idiot.
Not the comic books.
Oh no! I was wrestling a freshly new Parrish, right? That's his name.
I know him as the Ebony Sensation on Instagram.
Yes, Ebony Sensation. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved him so much. He was nervous a little bit. And I was like, no, what happens? No matter what happens out there, I got your back. Went out there. We're wrestling all that. I took a tornado DDT. Don't know what happened, but I landed. I got spiked, and I landed 100% upside down. And it's like, I'm like 209 pounds, so that's all that coming down upon my neck, and I blacked out. I woke up at the hot tag. I'm like, why are people screaming? I'm like, oh, shit, it's the hot tag. I went to go turn to my right, sensation all down my body. I was like, I can't do that. Tag Lucio. Took the worst bumps in the world. And then Lucio told me, like, oh, stay down. I'm like, no, we got the next spot coming up. So whatever goes on, I grab. Parrish gives me a Enziguri, but I realized mid Enziguri he wears Doc Mart because he switches his gear into shoes all the time. And I was like, oh, he got Doc Martens, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna hurt. So boom, my head, like I already can't feel nothing. My whole right side of my body, and I start stumbling to the back and everything. They're like, you can stop selling. I was like, I'm not selling. Like I'm not okay. I went to the ED that night. They kept me in a neck brace. They kept me overnight. And they were like, in the morning, after all their tests and all those stupid things they had me do, they were like, all right, we got some news for you. They were like, I still can barely feel the right side of my head. Like, all this is numb. So since, like, that match, basically for, like, 3-4 months, maybe 5, all this is numb. I can't feel it. Still numb. Can't feel a thing.
And this was how long ago?
I want to say August, if not September.
Okay.
Or October, one of those. It couldn't be October, but all this was numb. It still is. Still can't feel anything. They were like, it was like my right side's weaker than my left side, so I'll be holding stuff, and like it will just drop out of my hand. And along with that came short-term memory. Like if someone were to tell me something immediately, I would immediately forget. There was one time I was driving, and I forgot how to drive a car for like a good minute. I had to pull off. I had to like remember where the brakes was and like pull off to the side. I'm like having a breakdown because I'm like, I can't remember anything. But yet I can somewhat remember a wrestling match. But I'm guessing maybe because I was so attuned to wrestling. But I also felt like, now that I can't feel one side of my head, maybe it really is time. And everyone's telling me, oh, you'll be back. Give it 6 months. Give it a while. And I'm like, guys, it's not like your normal, like, oh, I tore my shoulder. Like, Like, this is something that's going to affect me for the rest of my life. And everyone's like, I know people wrestle with work, like, injuries and all that, but I'm like, it was scary enough when you seen it happen to Phoenix. Phoenix is back in it. Mm-hmm. He was everything that happened to him. But I feel, oh, I'm sorry. Like, whenever I pause for a second, I completely lose everything I was just talking about. But I'm sorry. But
that's fine.
It's rough, and I think to myself, like, I would love to keep wrestling, but also fell out of love with wrestling at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just the hammer and the nail for me to finish it off.
So, I mean, and this, couldn't have been easy. I mean, you were already kind of heading towards that before you got this other injury on top of things, too.
Yeah.
You kind of gave it an extra year. Do you think that maybe that was too much time to lead in with an already injured situation?
To a certain extent. Like, I had like my family, like, you need to be careful, you have this back problem. But I'm like, no, I'm just going to finish it out strong. I'm going to wrestle everybody I want to, which I didn't, which I'm like, I feel like I let a bunch of people down, which, like, still eats at me today. Like, I wanted to wrestle Cisco, I wanted to wrestle Atticus. There's a bunch of people I wanted to wrestle or who have messaged me, like, we got to go out at one time. Like, even a Rev, who's my tag partner, love to wrestle him, love to wrestle Jordan. I would love to have like bangers with green dudes, get them like, hey, we wrestled this banger of a match. You can do it. Don't ever doubt yourself again. But I just gave it that year because I was like, no, maybe my back will get better. So maybe I'll have changed my mind. But when that happened, I was like, there wasn't any of that.
Yeah, it was kind of the last nail in it.
Yeah, and I was already struggling. I was already starting to fall out of love with wrestling, which would not hurt to a great extent. Because, like, when I got out the military, a young kid trying to get out the military, you're trying to find a job, which is rough. They don't exactly help you with anything. I don't care what they say. They don't help. So I was sad, depressed. I was doing odd job to odd job. I even stripped for a minute. That's
really
no joke. I was a stripper back when I was 160 pounds. No joke. I was a stripper, but but it wasn't filling a void. Like, I was like, nah, I'm not in the military. What am I going to do with my life? I let everybody down. I didn't even tell none of my family members that I left, cause it was some BS that went down. And, I diddle with the thought of suicide. And I don't mean to, like, crush it down with the emotion, but I feel like I'm past it, so I can talk about it. Like, I was writing my suicide note at home, tears pouring down, all the other shit going on. And I had to stop writing my suicide note because, like, there were tears all over the paper. And I'm like, I can't die with wet paper. Can't find crunchy paper. And then I was like, I'm just going to watch TV till the paper dries up. And hence I was going to hang myself, blah, 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 news. But then Raw was on. And I was like, oh, I used to love this shit when I was a kid. And then I'm watching it. I'm going to watch the whole episode. I was like, let me postpone the suicide stuff. Let me see what's really going on.
So you're telling me an episode of Raw saved you from going through with it?
As much crazy shit as it is.
Yeah.
I know how people say, like, oh, wrestling saved their lives or something. Like, no, I could legitimately say wrestling saved my life. Because, like, waiting for tear-ridden paper to dry up, because I think Kane was on TV, and I'm watching. I was like, oh, I used to love Kane when I was a kid. Came in, House of Fire, just knocking everybody down. I got hyped. I got excited. Something I haven't been in a long time. And I'm like, yo, this is great. So I was like, let me postpone it because I want to see what happens next week. And then there was SmackDown later that week because I was looking up what led into the storyline and all that. Then I kept postponing the suicide. I kept postponing it. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm old enough to do this now. So I went out to a couple different indie shows. I went to IWC, but I left halfway through because I got bored. There was dude RJ City. and there's a guy in front of me. If he would have said RJ City one more time out loud in my face, I was going to punch him in the back of the head. Then I went to a PWX show, smaller crowd, but everybody was so into it. So I decided to go there. And I know, like I said, people will say wrestling saved their life. Like, I can legitimately say wrestling saved my life.
So and you've had a few years at this. I know you had a couple different personas over this, but Christian Noir is mostly what I'm familiar with, of course. But we were talking about you, I think Mayhem show or the night before, and how this persona. And I know you also do cosplay.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Heavy
so
cosplayer.
It was just a big thing about like, well, he's out there doing cosplay in the ring, as the character, as Christian Noir as well.
Yeah, cosplay really helped inspire a lot of the Christian Noir stuff, because when I got done with the I used to be a fitness guru. Everyone will remember, all of like the old school guys will remember me doing jumping jacks with like afro hair, gross, and then I did something called Janice. Terrible gimmick, lasted like a month, disappeared, came back. Nobody wanted me in face paint. They were like, you have too good at facials. I'm like, I don't know what that even is. I don't really care. I'm like, because you weren't caring to me at that point. Because, I felt, you can't, I understood, like, you can't push everybody at once. Someone has to take the cost involved. That was me. And I know for a minute, they did not want the face paint at all. So they would constantly try to discourage me, put me in matches where I would just constantly lose and all that shit. But I stuck through it. And then I wanted to add more to the character. I wanted to be more than just face paint. So that's when I was into voodoo and hoodoo, just studying it. So I started so I like bought a staff, then I started painting it. And then like a lot of my jackets or ring gear, I would add to it. I would start sewing and all that. And through wrestling, I got into cosplay because I was like, hey, if I can sew my own stuff together, why not do this thing I always wanted to do? And then it just perceived in that. The more Christian Noir would build, the more my cosplay would build, the more confident I would be in my cosplay, acting in character. Because, when you're in cosplay, like, people like to see, that character you brought to life. And it makes people happy. So, like, I would be a character from, like, Rainbow Six Siege, do the poses and all that. They're like, oh my God, Mute, you're here. Oh, Lion, you're here. I was speaking that accent. And that always reminded me, as Christian Noir, be that accent, be that character, be that thing that people want to distract themselves. I don't want to say distract themselves with, to be like, hey, that's cool. That's something brought to life. like the masks that I wear, all of them are handmade. Like a few people knew that. A lot of people thought I just bought them. But like,
I remember you coming backstage with like 3 masks, and it was just like, hey, I got these for the next few months or something. And also maybe like one of them would fall off the turnbuckle, and I pick up and grab the one with like the nails in it, and it was just like, oh, that shit's really sharp. Yeah,
I think for that one with the nails, there's actually over 400 nails in there.
Jeez. So it's just a mask, just around the head, right?
Yeah, just around the head. But I would make them all by hand, and I think that's what made everything so much more special to me. Because especially with the Scarecrow ideal to it, I felt like it's one thing that you can just buy and all that, but when you see like horror movies and Scarecrow stuff, everything's like crudely handmade, and that's kind of what I always wanted to go for. Except for when I would do like my Louisiana stuff, like the French Quarter inspired stuff, like I guarantee people were like looking at me like my last gear, like what's the significance of the checkers or the all white or the masquerade mask. I think one thing I always did different than everybody else was, even though it was a character and I could actually wrestle, but people, anyway, sorry. Because a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a character, but when they say like, oh, you can wrestle too, it's crazy.
Yeah.
When people invest in their character, you need to invest who your character is, what turned them this way, why are they like this, what inspirations do they draw from. I always built myself from the French Quarter, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Somewhere I always wanted to go. So I knew, because I'm a big history nerd, Louisiana was part of the French Purchase. French took all that land. And so there's a lot of French influence down there, inspiration from there. So I took the simple Harlequin design, and I would always think of masquerades because masquerades were a great thing. So I would do all white. That's why I had the mask and all that. But even beyond just the scarecrow things, there was different cultural significances I always put into my character. What I think a lot of people, they say they do their characters, but you need to invest more of, this is who I am. They need to understand more of, what's the backstory? What's the real backstory? What do they draw from? What influences? Even like my thing of like, I'm from the New Orleans. I'm gonna bite from the influence of the French people there.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can go like deeper into that. So I mean, it sounds like it's more heavy acting influence too when you get to that.
Oh yeah, when like a lot of the acting, like in ring stuff, even as well. Because like I always felt like, because I did theater in school, along with sports. Theater, like when you're doing something, you're trying to draw the audience in, especially and a rise at it helps because you're on that slightly higher platform than they are, and you're walking down to their level. That's how I always looked at it. And whenever an actor will come out, they have to make a very strong first impression to grab the audience's attention, or else it would be a loss. So I always try to make during my entrances, with the different themes and very acting, how I would walk to the ring, what I would wear to the ring, like the day I wore a wedding dress to the ring to fight PB Smooth. It was always something against PB. Not like I had beef with PB, not at all. It was, he always claimed himself to be the pretty boy. I'm like, oh well, I could be pretty too.
I think there was an entire like wedding montage video that ran in front of it too.
Yep, made the whole thing. He's looking at me in the back like, you can't be serious. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll see you out there. I'm serious. But like even acting things in a ring of like me sticking my tongue out, me staring towards the audience in like absolute disdain, how much I disliked them. How I would crawl around, how you would address your opponent, like the subtle movements. Like I remember one time I was wrestling Jinx, and I forget what move I just gave her, but the way I just grabbed her arm and just dragged her across the ring, that shows like, oh, he's a sick bastard. Or even like the way, and if you're doing it right, commentary should be able to pick up on that. Like my favorite commentary team, Jim Labata, whatever his name is, Lamada, something like that, Turkey Sandwich, and Paul Atlas. If they could pick up on what you're doing it right. Because I know one thing I always did, like the black drool. I remember when I first started doing it, some people come up to me like, oh, you're getting that from Gory. I'm like, I know Gory did the red thing, but I never. Yeah,
and Gory does, like, he spits as part of his entrance. It's not like you actually have kind of a drool thing going on.
Yeah.
And that kind of persists through the rest of the match then.
Yeah, like I would always have like a spare thing, and I would always like do it through the match. But I was like, I want to do this, but I never got the idea from Gory. Love Gory, respect Gory all day. Got no problem. I love him dearly. I remember when I would used to role play online. I know it was weird. I was on IndyWrestling.us, like a 3D avatar chat. Oh yeah.
I don't know this one.
I'm weird. And I would do like a zombie character. So I would always role play that. My skin would be pale. I'm like, all my insides were so rotten, everything would turn black. Someone stabbed me in the RP. So I was like, well, if everything's rotting away, the blood would eventually turn black. So that's where I got the black idea. So I was like, if my teeth look rotten and black, and I'm like, it looks like I'm rotting from the inside out. So that's where I got the idea for the drool thing. I'm like, and what? You got to like do stuff that is so unnatural. Like people are characters, but not like characters. Like I went out, drooled. People would freak out. Dude messaged me, yeah, my daughter's scared of you. Like she had a nightmare. She thinks your drool is like some type of acid. It's going to burn her eyes out. someone's friend told me like they had a dream like they were using a Ouija board. I'm like, only white people use Ouija boards, so whatever. And she said I came out the Ouija board and like dragged her through it. And like during mid-match, I would drool it out. But I never really liked doing colored mist. Mm-hmm. I felt like black, even though black never showed up well through the air, when it comes on someone's face, yes, I said that. Mm-hmm. When it hits somebody's face, it just goes from like pasty white to just pitch black. And the moment I come in the back, I'm like, yo, you're racist as hell. You doing blackface. I don't like that you're doing this, man. So I always did it as like a joke to myself, so I could say that when people got to the back.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. You're talking about making that little girl uncomfortable. Like there was things you would do that make me feel uncomfortable at ringside.
You mean like touch your butt?
Yeah, there's that too. So, that's been pretty persistent there. So we do have a lot of comments. We have a lot of comments.
Oh, geez.
We got a lot of comments. So I just want to poke at them real quick here since we're live.
Kay's going to
kill
me.
No, it's been all good. It's been all good. Let's see. Jordan says, you're a beast in the ring. He's responding to something there. Actually, John Roden.
Oh, geez.
Current 2PW champion, by the way. Says, you're allowed to care about your own well-being. Your well-being. No need to feel bad about it.
Thank you, Roden. I always loved your singlet with the ram on it. And your swole is all hell.
Yeah, he's doing great stuff there. Jordan Styles is in here. And he says, bro, you've made such a mark on this scene. Much love and respect. And I believe later he says something along the lines of, oh, here he is. I've legit learned to be a strong entrance from watching you.
Oh, thank you. I feel like maybe if I know my legacy will, I have no legacy, but I feel as if I've done anything in wrestling that I always wanted to try to do, I hope I made at least one person think, like, man, could I do something? Or how I maybe inspired one person to do just that one tiny thing better. Or inspiration for something. Like, I hope, like, I know what I do is not going to be remembered for ages or, like, be written in the history books. But I hope, like, for the people I've made laugh, people I've helped inspire, a small bit of advice or something they saw me do, help. I really just want everybody to succeed. I hope whatever they do goes so far because it kills me in wrestling. You know, you see people, they're happy until you're doing better than them. Mm-hmm. But I think one thing I always like, I always seen people come way after me and have more success than I did. You know, at first I thought, the bad side of me was like, man, look at that. It was like, because you were set up for failure from the jump. It was like you took a shit sandwich and you made it the greatest thing in the world. But I looked and I was like, my journey is not the same as everybody else's journey. But I was like, I don't need to compare myself to their success. Like, I'm glad, London has gone down to Texas, done their thing. I'm glad Lee Moriarty is doing his thing. They all came after me. I'm glad Lawless is out here doing his thing. I'm glad Phoenix is out here doing everything he can. I'm glad, Atticus, the Cogers, Remy. I'm glad everybody. Like, I don't care how much more successful you are than I am. I will always be happy that you are living your dreams and you're succeeding, doing what you want to do. And your success makes me happy. Because I love seeing everybody that I care about live what they want to do.
Wow. I got some more comments for you.
Oh, geez.
Coming off that. Obviously an impression on the fans here. Candace is out here saying you actually got Joey to come out of his shell. He was so afraid of you by the last show. He admired you.
It's because he has my first mask now.
There you go. Zeke Mercer is out there.
Man, fuck Zeke. I'm just...
I've seen you taking Zeke to task a few times backstage. So he says it's cheesy, but I'm inspired to be myself in and out of the locker room from Christian.
Yeah, I think the one thing Zeke actually planned to shake your hand for the first time ever, but you left early the last show. And Zeke, I just want to let you know, I may have picked on you, I may have bullied you, but I just wanted you to be strong because you came in very soft, and I hope I at least toughened your ass up a bit. And now I see it has toughened your ass up. So what I've done has finally worked.
There you go. I know he's getting a lot of opportunities in some new places here coming up here, so looking forward to see what that turns into. Brohema says, "I hate you, but you're a good friend."
Yeah, but guess what? Both my shoulders work.
So, well, I guess there's a little bit of like, what's next for you? You're not in wrestling. How are you going to fill that time? We were talking a little bit before actually about like that kind of like that next day after wrestling for you.
Yeah, like the next day, like I unpacked my bag and everything, and I was like, oh fuck, what am I gonna wear next show? And I was like, there is no next show for me. Like, there's nothing. Like Matt Connor has told me, he's like, there's always a spot available for you. Marcus told me, Brandon's told me, in case you ever want to come back. They were like, oh, you'll be back in a month, you'll be back in 6 months. But I tell them every time, I'm not coming back. And they're like, you're so good. I'm like, I appreciate that, but no, thank you. Like, it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I finally accepted that I'm done. I've locked everything in the chest. My wrestling gear, all my kick pads, all my knee pads, all my gear. And I duct taped this bitch shut. Like, full rolls of duct tape. Duct taped it all the way shut. Just to remind myself, if you want to get into wrestling again, that's how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to get to it. But, yeah, everything's shut. And, like, honestly, now, it's weird. Like, your weekends are free. You don't got to worry about what you got to do to make somebody happy. Like, my plan this year is to, like, because for the past few years, I've invested so much into wrestling. I never invested into me. Like, now I'm going to travel, do cosplay, the things that I like to do. Like, so, like, tomorrow I'm going to Colossicon out in Ohio for 4 days to cosplay out there. But, there's always... I know they always ask me, like, I still get, you could come back. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But they're like, well, what if, like, for a random event or something? And I told them at most, I don't know. I'm like, for all we know, I'm going to come back as underneath my mask again, or I'll come back without face paint, and I'll just wrestle under a different name because I don't want to sound egotistical or cocky, but like I feel like no matter what I'm given, I can make it work. Because I did it with Noir, I did that with Cristiano, I made that work. Even one show, I was at Black Diamond Yard Show. Not Yard Show, but fair show, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put face paint on because it was hot as hell, and I didn't have a mirror. So I really picked I pulled this name out of my ass. Darius Castro. Right out of my, because I'm part Cuban. So I was like, okay, there. Build myself from New York. And I was just basically me right now. No gimmick, just suave asshole. And it worked. And I was like, I could come out with a chicken suit on and make it work. But honestly, now, I don't know what's next, to be honest. Like, I deactivated my Noir Facebook account, so nobody will ever see me post from there again. Like, I've basically unfollowed. I know it sounds mean, but I unfollowed every promotion around. Like, I love Rise, but I even unfollowed Rise.
Just to get it out of your feed, right?
Yeah, get out of the feed. Like, unsubscribe from all my YouTube stuff. Unsubscribe to you. Nothing against you, Sorry. I love you.
Yeah, so he unsubscribed from the network. Even though I still gave him matches, so he could see everything, but he was subscribing to the network, and I see a message a couple weeks ago of like you can put a little like why am I unsubscribing? And it says I'm done with wrestling, see you later, Sorg, or something.
I'm trying to I'm cleansing my mind from wrestling. Like I feel like wrestling did save my life, and but then again wrestling has also help me find new areas of my points of my life where I'm like, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do wrestling is everything, giving me confidence. Because you have to have confidence to go out there. You got to have confidence to come out. Like, I get wrestling as a sport. Everyone's like, it's hardcore. You got to train. Yeah, you got to train. But at the same time, wrestling is the weirdest, lamest you will ever do in your life. It's lame. It's weird. Homosexual even sometimes. Somebody there was like, no, it's this. No, it's wrestling. Bruh, you're a grown man with no shirt on and underwear, sparkly tights, custom made for your body with your name across the ass, coming out to music and lights and grunting and making facials. And like, look, I get it. Wrestling's super serious, but you gotta understand, we do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're not having fun with it, like, what are you doing? Because, like, I get it, like, you know, we take it seriously because it's our livelihood, but, like, have fun in your livelihood. I think that's what a lot of people are missing. People aren't having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's one thing that's killing wrestling. You need to have more fun. Because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? I have fun putting on my tights. I have fun walking around the locker room, sticking my dick bulge in half of people's faces.
Beastman, one last comment. We'll get out of here. I think we've touched a lot of the crying faces alone count all night. Oh,
jeez. Y'all will get over it. I'm not dying. I'm just ghosting all of you like a bad relationship.
Wes is out there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hold on. He's got a paragraph here. Who knew the Beastman would write so much? Christian's one of the people that has made chicken shit into chicken salad. His passion his passion for not wanting to give up when it was bad and proving people that downed him in the past wrong has made him better because I've seen it. I'm going to miss his antics and sharing a locker room and the ring with him. Definitely a great talent leaving too soon. Going to miss you, good brother.
I love you too, Wes. That's meaningful. You know, Wes is the kind of guy in the locker room. Wes is always one of the best people to the locker room. Like, as much BS he would give you, Wes one of the best for you, and always took care of you in the ring. Wes was literally one of those people you can go in the ring and just call it with him. Mm-hmm. Like, man, Wes was a guy. It makes me think, like, man, what if I would have called it in the ring my last couple matches? The hell with it. Well, call it out there.
Yeah, let's just do this.
Yeah, let's just do this. Well, all them spots we talked about, forget it.
Well, for those interested, I don't know if you want to even give it, but do you have a platform for your cosplay that you want to share that people can follow what is next, at least publicly with you?
Yes, I have one. It's Penubis. I know it sounds weird, but so does everyone else's Instagram handle, and yours is not better than mine. So how dare you judge me? Because it's a combination of pandas, because every month I get paid. I donate to the World Wildlife Foundation to save pandas. I've been doing that for years. That's something y'all didn't know. And I love Egyptian mythology because I'm a history nerd. But it's Pandubis. Penubis. That's my Instagram and my TikTok because I'm a weirdo and I have one. And I have over 7,000 followers. That means absolutely nothing in the real world. It makes me not even more important than anybody.
Awesome. Christian, like I said, it's been great getting to know you over the last couple of years, filming the shows, and seeing what the hell you come up with from month to month out there. It's been, and also my favorite meme that I was ever sent with the Hulk.
Oh yeah, that's the one I sent where they're like Hulk's giving
the taco to like Ant-Man, isn't he?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like Sorg, us, wrestling, because that's all Sorg gives us. And Sorg, I think you're the only wrestling thing I'm actually still going to follow.
What?
Yeah, you're the only wrestling thing I'm actually still going to follow.
Just me or just me?
Yeah, nobody else.
You're just like, what's Sorg up to this weekend?
Yeah, I'm like, damn, Sorg got some shit popping. I mean, I'm going to be nebby and look at what Rise is going on, but I'm like, have you seen what's going on here? No. It was like, don't you care? Absolutely not. But I remember they told me, like, you'll always have a spot. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, thank you so much. And again, looking forward and going to keep an eye on the cosplay with you. And who knows, maybe you will get the itch and get all healed up. And one day One day when you're an old man and want to do a charity show, you'll get back at this.
I'll be like, all right, brother, just put me in a headlock. We're going home.
There you go. I mean, you'll just do the Jerry Lawler thing, and you go Memphis and just yell at the crowd for 10 minutes, right?
You mean a typical Brandon K match?
Oh, there it is. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody in the live chat room over here on the IndyWrestling.us Facebook page. And again, you can check out like the last 2 years of your career over at IndyWrestling.us, Indy Wrestling Network. A few free matches over on the YouTube page for IndyWrestling.us. So please go check those out. If you don't know nothing about, now you know.
Say the N-word.
No, I'm not.
Oh man, that was my favorite thing to be saying in every locker room I'm in. Man, I don't know how I never got kicked out. Maybe because I was funny.
I had to. At one point, you came up, and one of my new videographers was there, and I was just kind of looking at me. I was like, "It's okay. That means he likes you."
It's like, I think it's the only person who could like just go blurt the N-word out in the locker room. Normally everyone would be like, "You know what? You get out of here. You're fired."
It's like a barrage of like, "Oh, here he comes." Thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Please subscribe on iTunes, wherever you like your podcasts.
Sorg is God.
We'll see you next time. Until then, please support indie wrestling and good cosplay. And pandas.
And pandas.
All right. Being a part of this, and I saw a lot of shares out there. I really do appreciate that. Again, this will be posted officially in the podcast tomorrow. Please look out for those. Share those with somebody you think needs to hear this, because I think there was a lot of good stuff in there. So went some directions I did not expect.